the combination of the Darwinian and Adam Smith capitalist competition is critical advantage for Bitcoin versus, say, a proof of stake network.
Right.
Because in proof of stake network, you pretty much turn off energy competition, you turn off semiconductor competition and innovation, you turn off engineering and heat engineering innovation, you turn off capital financial competition, you turn off the political element. And that means that I can get fat, dumb, and happy. I can just post $1 billion worth of my tokens and go to sleep for a decade.
Right.
And no one's trying to make the network better. So it's not being tested. There's no stressing of it. Right. And ultimately, the problem with that is you're going to suffer in integrity and durability.
Right. So we're again at this point where it's the Bitcoin mining network itself is a free market in and unto itself, and it reflects many of these properties of capitalism. So there's this, this yin and yang, I guess, of efficiency and magnitude sort of going back and forth. And to your point, that's reflected in many markets historically, where we shift from labor intensity to capital intensity. And this basically means that the capital, as it becomes more plentiful and effective at amplifying labor, you need less labor to accomplish the same results, right? This is a natural capitalistic progression. Let me ask you this. So the useful life of a miner, I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it varies generations.
I think it was 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years. So we have the older generations rolling to cheaper energy to remain in the marketplace. Newer generations
steal energy, right? If I can bootleg energy, then I can run old generation miners profitably because my variable cost is zero.
Right. And then so newer generations would then be allocated to more expensive energy resources initially. Does this then, is this an aspect of the gradually increasing fully amortized cost to produce each Bitcoin? Or you actually, because there's more CapEx, maybe the CapEx OpEx mix is changing, but the overall cost to produce each Bitcoin is rising, which is putting upward pressure on its price in the marketplace. Is that another way to look at this?
That's not clear to me. What's the price of energy? Is it going up or going down? Maybe the price of energy is going up and then it's going down.
Yes.
What's the price of semiconductors? Is it going up or is it going down?
Right.
Well, sometimes it's going up. It's going up if there's a monopoly on the semiconductor chips. And then it's going down when someone else enters the market. And, in our Intel chip, a 386 chip is pretty cheap now, right?
Yeah.
Chip prices are coming down, but the next generation is going up. But again, it's a competitive thing. What's the price of semiconductors? Well, if there's only one provider and there's a monopoly, then you could say, well, the price of your semiconductors is going to go up every generation forever, and the cost of Bitcoin mining is going to go up. But there isn't one semiconductor company. There's multiple. If there is one, we're back to Jeff Bezos' statement. Your margin is my opportunity.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is an open market for mining, so anybody can engineer a SHA-256 chip. Anybody, there is no one type of Bitcoin miner. There are people slapping these things in the back of trucks and driving them around and plugging them into bootleg power lines, right? It's not very efficient.
Yeah.
There are people that slap 500 Bitcoin miners into a container and they just drop it on top of a pad. Does it work? Sure, it does. Is it properly heat engineered? No. Does it get hot? Very. What's the consequences of running hot? You have to turn off the mining equipment some of the time, so you lose efficiency, and they burn out, and their useful life is not 4 years, it's 3 years. It's 2 years, right? So there's a competition here. And just like there's competition for energy, how will energy go up forever? No, energy could go to zero, right? If I invent coal fusion,
will
semiconductors go up forever? No, they'll go up until, at some point Bitmain is they raised their prices, and then everybody started talking to Intel Well, you go
Yes.
to another semiconductor company and you say, well, look, Bitmain's, tripled their prices and now you can make this much. And now you draw somebody else into the space.
Yes.
So I think that there's a dynamic equilibrium between the engineering and the semiconductor and the energy, and the best capitalized companies, they can buy the new equipment. Like the publicly traded North American companies, they will go and buy all the new shiny equipment. And poorly capitalized companies will run the old equipment. And then you will roll forward like that.
So let me okay. I'm just trying to.
It's not clear to me how much it will cost to create a Bitcoin.
Yes.
Right? Because that's a function of. Well, if we look, maybe the profitability of Bitcoin is a function of the rate at which we add hash power versus the rate at which we add Bitcoin holders. If we increase the number of Bitcoin holders by a factor of 10, and we increase the hash power by a factor of 2, then the profitability and the revenue per exahash is going to go up by a factor of 5, right?
Yeah.
And if we increase the exahash by a factor of 10 and the holders by a factor of 2, the profitability is going to deteriorate. And so the profitability of the Bitcoin mining is going to have an impact on the rate of development of Bitcoin mining semiconductor chips, right?
So here's what I was saying is that so the total OPEX and CAPEX going into the Bitcoin network at a halving, that total allocation of expense goes from producing, call it 900 Bitcoin per day to 450.
The revenue gets cut about in half.
So the production cost per Bitcoin is effectively doubled. And then my thinking was that this higher cost to produce each Bitcoin is actually incentivizing miners to hold, right? They don't want to sell below cost of production. So that's what's bootstrapping Bitcoin's price upward.
Yeah, well, I can see once every 4 years, the energy cost doubles. But we don't. But if once every 4 years I upgrade the equipment and it's 5 times faster.
Right.
Right now, the question is, how much did you pay for the equipment?
Right. Yes. Okay.
Right. And the answer is, if you paid a lot for the equipment and you now amortize the cost of the equipment into the cost of the Bitcoin, and you got an answer. But that's a price that a vendor charges you, which could be triple or half, depending upon the competition. In a very competitive market, well, let's say it a different way. Like if you're buying Intel grade 386-46 chips and slapping them into your home appliance, what is the price of the intelligence that you put inside your toaster as a percentage of the cost of the toaster? It's pretty cheap, right? Like at some point, the cost of intelligence starts to drop because it's a commodity market. AMD drove down the prices. And so everybody can put intelligence into their appliance because of competition. If there was no competition, it might go the opposite way. So I think that the protocol guarantees us through halvings that we're going to have to get 5 times as efficient every decade.